Hello, everybody. I am joined on this Friday morning with Caviar, who is a R&B, pop, and hip hop group. They are three Bay natives that formed in 2019, and they are Lee, Draytoven, and DJ Philly Mac. How are you guys today?
Good. We're
What's
doing
poppin',
great this
everybody?
morning. You?
I'm doing good. I'm alive. I'm waking up. It's cold over here.
Like that.
I said alive and healthy is kind of what's important right now, right?
Yes, for
Well,
sure. So Caviar just released their newest EP, Round One. It is available on all streaming platforms. You can check them out on their IG, Twitter, and Facebook. I will link those below. And I just wanted to get started and ask you guys questions about your new EP and just things about you
cool.
guys.
Fire
Let's do
away.
it.
All right. So, what about your music is unconventional and unusual? What sets you apart from other artists?
I think what what sets us apart is that no one really knows what to expect from us. So between the three of us, we all have inherently different background styles of music. So whenever we create, one style might be more dominant than the other, or they all might just mesh together. So whatever creation that we produce today might be pop, it might be country, might be R&B, might be reggae. So that's what's really unconventional for us is you can't really box us in.
Ah, that's cool. Yeah, I agree with a lot of your music. It's very different and it's like it's just not one thing. And I feel like that's how you guys put yourself out there. You're just not one thing. You don't want to box yourself in. Has your musical journey had a deliberate direction or did it simply gradually evolve in whatever direction it had found?
I don't know that we had a direction that we knew we
Mhm.
were going in. Initially, we were all really just linking up just to link up and to be productive. Because
Mhm.
again, we've all been kind of doing music in our own right. And it kind of just synthesized into a project. And then that project actually is only one which is now on this EP. We
Mhm.
were that was the first project we ever wrote together, and that was a year ago. Um, and so it had no direction. So now, kind of when we link up, it's kind of very similar. That's kind of like our process. Our process is not to have one. We
Yeah.
kind of create. So again, between whose style, somebody might come in with a hook or something. We might just have a beat already going, or we just do everything from scratch. And it's kind of what we feel like we're going to do. And again,
Mhm.
that's our main goal is really just to make sure we don't get boxed in into a particular genre or demographic. So we kind of just want to make sure we can showcase that we listen to all styles of music. We like all styles of music. I don't like any extremes of any style. Kind of like blends in between.
Mhm.
Uh, and so we just work really hard to make sure that we try and give quality music every time. So A1 every time. That's a part of the caviar experience. But we don't necessarily want to always do the same style.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So when you guys formed Caviar, did you guys have any idea of where you guys were gonna just go forward, or was it just more so like we're just gonna create music and go on with that?
We did caviar initially. It was just, hey, let's just put out good music.
Mhm.
We'll create good music. Again, Lee and myself, we actually really had no intention of trying to perform anything. We're just trying to work on the craft and just becoming better at that. Since Philly Mac, DJ Philly Mac, if you please, he performs. That's what he does.
All the time.
He was like, "Yo, no, we are performing." We're like, we don't know how we feel about that." And then so once we were told, and once we had in mind that Caviar was going to be performing, then we started kind of moving towards tracks that would be more or better received, like at a performance.
Yeah.
So we started doing a little more mid tempo and more upbeat. And then after that, we're like, "Yo, we still vibe a lot like on R&B and like slower projects as well. All right, slow tempo. So we're like, we're just gonna go ahead and just vibe and just do whatever, and it's just gonna be good quality regardless, and you'll like it at a show." So
Yeah,
and
and
so
I think
oh,
that's a big part of the Caviar experience, like, you guys are unconventional, and it's so unique to your sound, like, with anything that you guys have been producing and putting outward. So this goes to Lee. Does your music fit into your local scene? If so, how do you take advantage of that? If not, do you see that as an obstacle? And what do you think about it?
Um, so because we are kind of like in that unique thing where we kind of just mesh all these different sounds together, I think fitting in the scene, we kind of fit in the scene, but we kind of don't.
Mhm.
And the reason why I say it's like one of those things where it's like we kind of do but kind of don't is the way that the music. If you look at what music is doing right now, a lot of genres are kind of meshing together, and we kind of just going full force with it. You know what I'm saying? Different styles of music that we all come from. And we're slowly but quickly introducing that, which can be an obstacle because that can kind of be like, wait, what? Because people want to put you in a box, you
Mhm.
want to just fit you in a certain lane where we're trying to take over all the lanes.
Yeah, because I feel like when we introduced you, like, before saying, like, you are a, like, hip hop, R&B, and pop group, I feel like that doesn't suffice enough because you guys are in such different lanes.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think for us too, I think you you will hear a lot of hip hop, R&B the most,
Mhm.
even with us happening into different genres, just because that's the core of the three of us.
Mhm.
And even with like house music or dance music, you'll hear a lot of like R&B um, vibes or hip hop vibes within that because DJ Philly Mac is, that's a lot of what he does. Me and Andre, a lot of R&B, a lot of hip hop. I know I grew up listening to a lot of reggae. Um, so you hear like a lot
I
of
was
that
in
vibe too.
church, so there's a lot of gospel.
Yeah, a lot of gospel, a lot of different just elements that we just you'll hear, but you'll mostly hear like the R&B and the hip hop
Mhm.
for sure.
Mhm.
Mhm.
I was gonna ask, what is your influences, like your music influences into Caviar? Like, what do you guys when you create songs? Like, okay, where do you get your big influences from?
Right.
All right, because again, technically, since everyone has a different sound, or every song is kind of a different sound,
Mhm.
try to pull from different sources. So I like let's take control for instance. Take control. I would like to say is almost a direct catalyst of us. We were actually locking in and watching Songland a lot,
Mhm.
um, and just kind of taking tips from there. You get your information and knowledge wherever you can, and we were doing it that way. And I remember Lee had voice memos. No, there was no melody, nothing to it. And he like showed me these voice memos after we watched one of the episodes of Will I Am. And I was like, yo, and we probably watched it like, a few days or whatever ago, but that's still like that vibe was in my head. And so I was like, yo, send me the files real quick. And so we dropped the files in. And so for that one, I would say that like Take Control was heavily influenced by that track,
Mhm.
like the Black Eyed Peas or that Will I Am sound. You say only one. Like people usually will hear it like in any of the tracks, like, oh, this kind of sounds like a so and so style song. It sucks to hear that sometimes because it's like, oh, well, there's a caviar, but at the same time, people are fire, and
Mhm.
you're happy that people can kind of hear your sound and that quality close to it. Um, I grew up listening to like Usher. Um, wow, we could really get into a lot of people.
Yeah,
The we're '90s kids.
yeah. I was. It's a lot of '90s vibes that you hear too, but even in today's music, I think that's why a lot of people would be like, "Oh, that kind of sounds like," because a lot of the '90s kids is growing up right now. You know what I'm saying? Making the music that we grew up on, but in our own.
Way, yeah.
Yeah, from our
Modern, so it's like
perspective,
more
it's
yeah,
modern. Yeah,
modern retro of you or something.
yeah,
Yeah, I was gonna say too, because as a '90s kid, I was born '98 though, so I was only there for like a year. But I grew up also with like Usher, like my mom would play it a lot, and I feel like your vibes, like you can tell, especially when you're '90s, you can tell like the different types of vibes that you get within each song. But I think that's so unique to now because the '90s are coming back now with all these trends. So it's
yeah.
such a unique style to hear you guys blend that into like modern day. All right. So this one is a question for all of you guys. What has been the most rewarding and or challenging about being an artist? We can go with rewarding first.
I would say the most rewarding is just being able to see your ideas come to life. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think for people who make music, and I'm pretty sure,
Artists in
like,
general.
yeah, artists in general, you know what I'm saying? Even with any kind of artist, I
Hmm.
think to hear, for us specifically, to hear something in your head and to like actually put that out for the world to hear, and for you to be like, oh, that's that's what I heard in my head, and it actually came,
Hmm.
you know what I'm saying? Especially when it comes out even better than what you originally heard. You know what I'm saying? I
Hmm.
think that's the most rewarding, and also just the love that you receive from the hard work that you put into any project that you do as an artist. So yeah, that's what I would say was most rewarding.
Oh man, I was going to touch on both of them. Uh, so I would say, piggybacking off what he said, taking the idea from inception or to nothing is both rewarding and challenging. So once you finally
Hmm.
have it done, it's fire and like that's good. It's because people hear your project like a lot of the rough versions of the song, the versions that never make don't make the cut. if we were to put it out like that, people wouldn't hear it. So like we almost sometimes we get stuck listening to the old version and almost not want to even add anything new because in our heads we're hearing what the final product is. And at some point you have to train yourself to hear what's actually being played and realize it's not there yet. So that's the challenging part, is to know when the song is done enough, because really art's never complete, but when it's done enough to at least release where you feel like enough of your energy and the vision that you heard has actually come across.
Mhm.
Also with being an artist, I'm not like a full-time artist. I'm a full-time artist, and on top of that, we all also have other jobs as well.
Mhm.
That's the other thing with us, is trying to make sure we can really go full time, because again, full time results come from full time effort.
Mhm.
Half time results can come from halftime effort. So we're trying to put full time effort in because we want our full time results. But at the same time, we're also full time elsewhere. So trying to mesh our three schedules, which are very different, and still make sure we're giving good quality and getting everything the time it deserves. So those would be, I think, probably the difficulties.
Mhm.
And obviously, rewards is just, again, having it done and be able to say you did that. Keep hearing like older projects and know that we've gotten much better. Like hearing
Mhm.
the evolution of the sound. So like when I listen to older projects,
Yeah, the growth I think is the biggest reward. Like to look
mhm,
back and see like, oh,
and
we've come to a
to
point. We've come
to
to a point and I'm here for it.
to efficiently be able to like go, cool, this is what we want to do, and actually be able to execute that, knowing that we've worked that kind of hard and put that kind of time and energy in to be able to say we know we can achieve this sound, is also very rewarding. And obviously, always once it's always done, and even right now, like we don't have like a large following, but everybody who's been rocking with us since like the catalog release or for the first single
Mhm.
release, it's really cool just because it's like, yo, we're just like making our own little wave. Right now, it's not a tidal wave yet.
Yet.
Right now, everybody's walking on the beach, walking on the sand with us, and kind of just rubbing their feet in the little waves we're making right now and enjoying it. It's just so cool to have people on a journey with you who actually know the songs and are rocking with us. So that's rewarding.
Yeah, just to kind of top it off, what's really rewarding is watching your trees bear their fruit.
Yeah.
So, we spend all this time together.
Mm.
We create, we critique ourselves, we make something, we think it's finished, and then it's garbage. It's any artist process. So to see any of your trees bear fruit is a beautiful thing. On top of going to a show and having some of our crowd sing the lyrics before we do,
Mhm.
an amazing feeling.
No lie, that still shocks me. But it feels so good to like have that happen. So yeah, I agree with that.
And just one more part, the artistry is what we're still working on, like evolving, and that's going to keep
Mhm.
evolving, keep getting better. And hopefully, like y'all hear the experience in
Mhm.
round one and all the projects we've done up to that point. But the other part now, we've been working with the management team. Shout out to Holiday Management, on the
Yeah.
business portion of it. Because as an artist, you can be as dope as you are.
Mhm.
If your business sense isn't smart and you can't market it correctly, you're not promoting correctly, your branding is off, people, you're not getting it out to people or even getting it out to the right people. Then, so that's what we actually spent a lot of time with these last couple projects, including round one, was not only making sure the artistry was well or good, but also learning the business,
Yeah.
better learning the business. And that actually has probably been more taxing and harder to do than the artistry evolution.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, but it's a fun journey nonetheless.
Yeah, that's great. That's a good segue into my next question as well. I know you guys just released round one and just the effort that you put into creating these songs, but also just the way you have been promoting and the way that your own social media feeds have just been showcasing like the behind the scenes of round one, your growth and your journey into round one. And I think this EP is such a monumental part of who you are right now, especially because you've worked so hard and like months into creating this. So why round one now? Why release this EP during this time?
So I would say round one now, um, because it was time for everyone to see a good project from us. So before this, we have singles, and our latest single release was Pharaoh. That was actually supposed to come out next year, but because of the trying times, we really felt
Mhm.
that we should push that one out this year. So to have all these other singles come out and no one actually see a project from us yet, we definitely decided it was time to put something together. And my favorite thing about the project is it doesn't sound like any of the singles. In the past, our other singles, we released them and we got a lot of response and good feedback on them. But as soon as we released round one, we got a lot more feedback and
Mhm.
people really started to notice us. I'm like, oh, so you guys don't just sound like this. You guys can sound like this. And they're starting to notice our sound, but not. Let me rephrase that. Not our sound. They're starting to notice our vibe, but can't place our sound.
And just to piggyback real quick off that last part that he said, I think right now it is a good time for us to put this EP out, just because, like, you know what I'm saying, like, you get to, this is the first of, well, it's a whole project, first of all,
Mhm.
uh, but out of all the things that we put out, it's different from what you've heard, but you got little bits and pieces of that from each single, add everything together. And for example, like the track Fire, yes, cohesive. The track Fire, that track itself is very so much like the vibe that we've been putting out with our singles, but then you get
Mhm.
into the EP, now you dive in and it's like, oh, I wasn't expecting this to be more of a R&B vibe. um, but yeah, I think that's what's so dope about that project, and why it was important to put it out now, because of how many singles we didn't put out already, and giving people that, I guess, kind of like a shock value for those who actually, been following our journey.
Mhm.
Oh, we expected them to do this, but then we flipped it on y'all.
Well,
Yeah.
it's also bringing about that cohesiveness. We had time.
Yeah, we had time.
So it was like, cool. Like, and again, people utilize the lockdown time to, get healthy or visit family, do whatever they need to do for them. For us, we're like, cool, we should utilize this time to try and, actually keep, again, improving our craft. And what would be a good demonstration of that is for us to actually cohesively put a project together. And so that was the hard part, actually, also because we have a lot of single projects, and those technically could have all been singles in their own right, but it was trying to pick the best ones that would collectively be cohesive and actually, give you some sort of flow so we could show y'all that we could put out a project.
With round one, you can see it, and I think also like following your fan base, and I feel like that has also grown with round one. How have you guys seen that? How has round one growth your fan base, and just like how has the feedback of round one been?
Um, for me, I think the feedback's been really really good. People who've been following us since the beginning, you know what I'm saying? I think this project has made them even more of a believer. You better believe. But just the love, you can just see it just within like reposting. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
People reposted this EP a lot, and actually was, like, oh, this joint slap, or oh, this one go, or this is my favorite one, and really just showing love. And just from that, like, we've seen growth in our social media. You know what I'm saying? People really coming to check out and see who we are. So yeah.
That's great. All right. So now that we talked about just the kind of how you guys started round one and all the influences and just like the growing of round one, what where did the inspiration for your new EP come from, and how did you begin the process towards creating it?
Um, but this one in particular, I'm trying to I'm thinking about all the projects. Again, there was no necessarily an explicit direction for it. Again,
Hmm.
because it's all right. we're,
Hmm.
we're working on being a little more direct with it, but only one, actually, we didn't even decide that only one was going to be in a project until we'd already had a couple other songs selected. So what we did was we kind of just went through the singles we had,
Hmm.
project we really were vibing with, and figured out which ones were most cohesive. And from there, we kind of were like, all right, cool. Well, we know these three are going to be, cohesive and fit on the project for real. What else is going to actually go into this project? And then we did a writers retreat to finish more singles to see what was going to go on there. And ironically, those singles are, for another project later. We're not going to talk about it. And so just being at the writers retreat and having everybody together and having all that energy there, Fire was actually created there, as well as Getaway. So those two weren't even in existence, but we went to the writers retreat to try and get stuff or complete projects for the EP and make a selection. And once those two were made, we were like, yo, these are both on here.
This is it.
And so they fit really well. So that was kind of, it had no direction per se,
Hmm.
but we kind of honed in on the projects and the cohesiveness that we wanted. And we were able to kind of feel what vibe we wanted to fill out. And then once we made the selection, it was still like, cool, we know these all kind of fit somehow. And then Phil was like, well, we're like, Phil Mac, how would you put these, like, if you were spinning for the night? And so he set the order for, like, if he was DJing for the night, how he would want the night to go. And I was like, genius.
Kind of makes sense.
That's amazing. I was gonna say too, like I think just knowing you guys and also just knowing the work that you put out, your work ethic, I think also probably contributed into just creating round one. You guys working together and just learning the different, like
Yeah, so
understanding how each other work.
yeah, and I think that's another thing that kind of inspired this EP to come together because even from the time we did only one, I think we realized we kind of had something. You know what I'm saying? Like
Hmm.
it was instantly like boom, we just came out with a project. And like Dre saying, we didn't really have a direction on what we were really gonna do with any of our projects. You know what I'm saying? Or if we wanted to even put an EP together. But I think the more we just kept working together and just our creative flow just started happening, it was like, you know what? Maybe we should put an EP together. Put it together. You know what I'm saying? And also too, just to showcase a little bit of get so people can see who our personality is, and because you can see a little bit of each of us in this project.
Hmm.
So yeah, I think us just being together, seeing how we work, um, and knowing that this is what we want to do, I think this inspired this EP to come together.
Yeah, and the EP's been doing great. And if you haven't streamed round one, I don't know what you're doing, but you
You feel
should.
me? Go ahead and stream that. G-Thank. Go ahead and do that. All platforms. You know what I'm saying?
And now that you have released round one, do you guys have any other plans relating towards this release? Like a video, any online shows, and when? And Lee, could you tell me?
Yeah, we actually have some things in the works. We definitely plan on giving you guys. Uh, we wish we could do this in person with y'all and actually give y'all a live show, but we're gonna put together something for y'all, something special on the live stream. um, but yeah, we have a couple other things too in mind for y'all. Like we definitely want to give you guys a visual and stuff. So yeah, just make sure you stay on top of what Caviar is doing because you don't want to miss it. You know what I'm
And
saying?
don't forget to follow Caviar because that's
Don't
where they
forget
announce everything.
that official
So
Caviar Instagram. What's that?
Instagram. So going forward, this question goes to Dre. What has been the most challenging aspect of creating and putting out round one?
Um, Most challenging by far, I'm trying to figure out how to wrap it up the best, would be the fact that we didn't realize what we were undertaking.
Hmm.
Fact.
Okay, so for all y'all who don't know, because none of y'all know, because y'all ain't the management team, we initially planned on releasing the project in August. Now, aside from life happening and other stuff, with all the different roles that will take place in trying to get everything done, life just happened. But we were like, oh, we'll do August. But for as far as Caviar is concerned, we didn't really understand what we were undertaking in that. This is the first project that we decided we were going to mix. When we mixed everything in house, didn't realize how much that was going to take. We also didn't realize the degree of how well we went through the songs. We thought the songs were done ish,
Hmm.
and then we're listening to them like, once one song was actually really done, which was the one that was really done first.
The first song that was done was "Get Away."
Done, 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 done. Yeah, from the Writers Retreat. Well, only one technically too, but
Only
like,
one, yeah, yeah.
yeah, only one would probably been the best written song or
Hmm.
most written song. But as far as like actually recorded, I think we finished. Damn it, Get Away, Misbehave. No,
Mm-mm.
was
So we it was
Get Away.
so it was "Getaway," "Pogo," "Fire," and then the
But
other one. Yeah.
but what happened was we would think they were all done.
Hmm.
Then when you would hear the other song actually done, like we'd start stacking or like really feeling the song. I'm like, oh, that's the quality we need to be giving. Now we have to go back to all the other projects and make sure they're matching that energy. So with one song being completed correctly, every time we would have to make sure that the level matched or corresponded. So like when Fire was done and Fire was like, then we had to go back and make sure everything else was on that same level because we don't want there to be a scale and quality from that as well. We had to talk about the mixing because the mixing was
I think too what we didn't really take into account was what I'm saying, like you said, like mixing was done in house, but we write everything too. So
Yeah.
that in itself takes a lot of brain power.
and
You know what I'm
creative
saying?
energy.
And energy. I mean, sometimes you have writer's block. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you ain't feeling nothing. You know what I'm saying? So
Hmm.
you don't have nothing to translate. So yeah, like on top of we also the producing was done in house. So
Hmm.
from the beats to the writing, to writing the songs to actually getting the songs mixed, there was just so much that goes into it that we didn't really
think about.
And shout out to Mix for mastering it,
Yeah,
because
shout out to that guy.
we don't have the capacity to master anything, and so we needed someone else to like put an extra ear on it and like bring the level of quality up. So that would be good, because if we all gave y'all just the mixes, it was not going to be at all cool. But on top of this, I just remembered something else that was a doozy. We had to figure out
Who's
again the business side of it. So again, we were always so focused on, you know,
Great.
artistic the, the artistic side, that it was like now we have to do the business side. So shout out to Mandy, you too, for our content, because we didn't realize just to even try and get engagement going, why like put out a really good project if it's not reaching anybody. So we had to really work on simultaneously tackling making sure we're getting content shot, photo shoots. I think we leveled up like how many photo shoots we were doing for content, shooting projects, lyric videos. We're doing all that again in house as well.
Hmm.
And so it's like, well, where do we
Even
put
uploading your own lyrics to like the
loading
songs.
lyrics,
yeah, so I think
merch?
I think that's the thing.
Y'all get the merch
It's
yet?
a lot of it's a lot of what we're learning the most of is being independent artists. You know what I'm saying? Like this, we are the machine. So everything that you guys see, from like you said, the merch to fun, doing everything pretty much on the back end along with our team. You know what I'm saying? Um, it's definitely a learning experience, but it's fun. It's difficult for sure. You know what I'm saying? Because you think you go into it and it's like, oh, it's gonna be easy. Let's just put music out and it's gonna happen. But there's so much that actually goes into that process.
Hmm.
So yeah, I think it's difficult, but also rewarding, just because we're learning so much.
Mhm.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like seeing if you don't know, I am Caviar social media manager. And seeing that like even with our Instagram, just the growth from when I started with you guys, like I think you guys maybe had like 150 followers, maybe a little bit less, to just the progressive amount, and to still now the progressive amount of how many followers you're getting to, like what now we're at 250 plus maybe. And just like the growth of round one, and like I got to work with these guys, and just like they have put the work, like when I mean they put the work into this. And also it's hard learning the business side of just like, also this is a learning experience for me too, like learning like how to, when an artist like needs to put out their own work, like you have to learn, oh my god, like I have to upload this weeks in advance, it hasn't uploaded, oh my god, we need to figure this out. So I feel like you guys, as much as it was like a difficult process, but even then like the reward of just seeing you guys put everything out there, and then also learning everything too, because I feel like now okay, when do I upload DistroKid, now I know when to upload to lyrics. And it's like your growth from like when I worked with you to May to now, it's like immense. And I think that's such a great thing about Caviar, like you guys really have the motivation and are driven.
We also
um
we just hadn't also done it at scale. That's probably what I was trying to get all the way around to. We've done singles. We had never done 6 projects at scale, so we didn't
mhm.
understand how much work it would take to complete all 6 projects with a
Yeah,
deadline. That probably would wrap everything up. So, including from promotion to marketing to content to mixing and mastering to writing, recording, production, we'd been doing everything as a single up to that point with no timeline per se.
yeah.
So, having the timeline and now making it 6 projects as opposed to just one was what threw everything for a loop. And that's again, you learn. We just kind of we just jumped in the water and had to learn to swim. So
Yeah.
let's get let's keep swimming.
All
Let's
right,
get
we're
swimming.
down to our last two questions. All right, so this one goes for Lee. What can we expect from you within the next 6 months? Any releases planned?
So again, like I said, we have a lot, what I'm saying, in the works, even 6 months from now. So you can definitely expect to hear a lot more music from us. You can hear a lot more music from us collectively as Caviar, and also you'll be able to get to know us a little bit, individually, because we're gonna hit y'all a little bit of that, and also, prepare yourself for some more visual or for visuals. So
Yes.
or some more. Oh, we ain't kind of yet, but no, yeah. So what I'm saying, like we got a lot of things in the work for sure.
And then lastly, this question goes to all of you guys. So as we have been in the pandemic since March, it has been definitely a struggle for artists to just start creating and being able to just put forth their music and even performances, because you guys do perform. And I know you guys had a catalog release even before the pandemic had started. And I just wanted to ask, as being artists during a pandemic, how have you guys been able to keep your ambition towards building Caviar? And how can your fans support you during this time?
So during the pandemic, it really made us focus. We had a show in January and we had 105 people show up. So by the time that March hit around and we're locked down, we all just got together and said, we can do this for real. So let's hit the ground running. And so that's what we've been doing, is really just locking in and focusing on our craft during this pandemic.
Yeah. Um, what feels it?
How can your fans help you during this time? I know a lot of a lot of artists have been doing like live streams where you're able to donate to help support musicians into the pandemic. And how can fans do this for you guys?
Okay, so obviously, so we're trying to drive home, because even with the round one, we're trying to drive home that, yeah, you can support financially. That's great. That'd be awesome. But at the same time, really, what we would like um, is for people just to share it. Like, just
Hmm.
straight share it. Like, if you like it, now if you don't like it, by all means, don't share it. Like, and that means that'll let us know that we need to work harder, and we're up for that challenge. But aside from like financially, yes, please, buy the merch. We try and design merch that we know people would like and the support. We rock it all the time. So
It's very comfortable if anybody has questions.
yeah. But realistically, like, really just like follow Caviar, support like virtually in terms of like stream the music, add it to playlists, share it with friends, tag friends, follow the content. We work really hard to make sure we put content out. If it's engaging, you like it, instead of just liking it, put a comment, or share it to your story. It takes what, one extra click. Um, yeah, that's what I think. That's probably the best way that fans can help.
Yeah, just getting ears on what we're creating. I think that would just help the most. So yeah.
All right, you guys, this was a great time. I feel like even though I've been working with you guys for a while, I feel like I got to know more about the process and everything. Because mostly on our side, it's like, hey, we need this, we need this, we need this. Like, when is this done? Like, it's good to know, like, especially like somebody in the management team, to learn how you are working, and then towards your fan base, like these boys, they really be putting out work, and it's just not like simple. It's always extravagant and it's always pushing forward. So if you haven't heard or streamed round one, it is available on all streaming platforms. You can find it under their
Yeah.
link in their bio on IG official caviar. You can also find them on Twitter and on Facebook. That will be linked down below. And I hope you guys have a great day.
Yeah,
You
same to
as
you.
well.
Also, yeah, everybody go stream round one. Available now on all platforms, like
As
Matthew
well,
said.
merch. Merch is also
Merch.
under their link.
So thank you very much for having us. Peace.